Hello friends, welcome to this YouTube video program. Friends, we are discussing about the overview of different units of different courses of MA Education program of Indira Gandhi National Open University. We have already discussed some of the units of the first course of MA Education program. We are discussing the first course. The course title is MES-011. This is the course code and course title is Understanding Education. And under this course, this is the first year course. Under this course, already we have discussed the six units. So today we are going to discuss the 7th unit of this course. The title of the unit is Education Supports Required. So friends, you see in the system of education, in the process of teaching and learning, you see especially in the educational institutions, it may be in the school, it may be in the colleges, it may be in any educational institute, you see different types of supports is required. Teaching learning process is not an isolated concept, because here you see the curriculum or the content, the courses of studies, the syllabi that has been developed for a particular standard of students that's supposed to transact from teacher to the students. So for transacting curriculum from the teacher to the student, you see many resources, media that is required. So that's why today we'll discuss about the education supports required. It means what are the different types of resources that are used in the teaching learning process. Broadly we can say that are used in the education process, and further we will also discuss about the resource mobilization and utilization. Okay, how to prepare the resources, how to get the resources, how to mobilize the resources. At the same time, further we will discuss that how these resources should be used properly. Okay, so our discussion will be in two parts of this unit. First we will discuss about different types of resources, okay, and the functions of the resources also. Then further we will discuss about in another video we will discuss the resource mobilization, at the same time the utilization of the resources. Friends, as I have already said that in a teaching learning process we use many resources. Okay, in our earlier program, in our earlier video, we have discussed that the education is called as a miniature of the society, and this is also called as a subsystem of society. Means the principles, the rules and regulations, the laws, the concepts that has been practiced in a society, that is also equally practiced in the education sector. Okay, it may be in a school, it may be in a colleges. Okay, so here, just like in a community, just like in a society, you will find that the students are doing their activities, coming contact with the group of students, with the teacher. So just like a family, they are grooming and they are getting educated, not isolatedly, rather you can say with a group, by communicating in a group, by interacting in a group. So all the educational discourses that has been that are undertaken in the educational institutions, that is just like it practices just like the spirit of a society, just like the principles of a society. So here when we talk about that, this is a miniature of the society, and this is a systematic, you can say a systematic process that has been practiced in a school system, in an educational institute. So here you will find that for teaching to the students, for providing varieties of experiences to the learners, to the students, and to involve them and to engage them in world of work, at the same time in varieties of activities, content related activities, subject related activities, activities related for their overall development of the personality. Okay, so that's why the teacher will be requiring, the school will be requiring many resources. So here in this program, in the first program, first we will discuss about what are the different resources that are being used in education, and how the students are getting support by using that resources. So friends, when we talk about the resources for education or the resources that we use in the education, this can be categorized in different ways. Just like we can categorize the resources that we use in education, just like the first resource is the financial resources, then second we can say that is the human resources, then third is infrastructure and learning resources, or resources relating to pedagogy, resources relating to teaching learning process, and further we can say in another category, that is the other resources. Means apart from this financial, human resources and infrastructure and learning resources, we also equally use other types of resources. So friends, let us try to understand that what is called as the human resources, financial resources, infrastructural resources, then other resources, then how to utilize these resources and how to get these resources. So first let us focus on the first category of resources, that's called as the financial resources. You see friends, it may be a government institute or it may be a private institute. Without financial you can say requirement, or within the definite finance, then no institute can function. Okay, it may be government or it may be private. I think you all know that we have in our society, in our educational administration, you will find that we have two types of schools, broadly two types of school. One is called as the government school and other is called as the private school. So government schools means it may be a state government run school or it may be a central run school. Okay, central government run school. So just like the Kendriya Vidyalaya, just like the Navodaya Samiti. Okay, so here you will find that all the centrally run schools, the schools run by the central government, they are financed by the central government. And friends, the schools which is run by the state government, that's called as the government school in the state. You will find that the government schools in the states or government educational institutions, they are financed by the state government. So friends, apart from this government institutions, government educational schools and colleges, you will also find many private schools. So here you see private schools, they are not getting any financial benefits from the government. Rather, they are generating their own you can say finance. They are generating their own revenue by student fee or by earning from other means. Okay, so they they get the revenue, they generate the revenue, and they utilize that revenue. They run the school, they provide salary to the teachers. At the same time, they also develop infrastructure. So here friends, when we talk about the financial resources, we should understand about how the schools or how the educational institutions are getting financial resources, whether they are getting it from the government or whether they are generating their revenues, they are generating the finance from their own. Okay, so again let me to mention here that even if in the government school, in government sector, you will find that not only the government school, at the same time you will also find that certain schools, those are getting a partial grant from the government. That's called as the government aided school. Okay, government aided school means that is not a full-fledged government school, but definitely they are getting certain financial you can say benefits or financial help, financial aid from the government, just like for providing salary to the teachers. Then other responsibilities that that is with the management of the school. So friends, broadly we classify two types of school, and when we talk about the financial resources, where they get the finance, where the schools or the institutions, they get the revenue for running their school, for operating their school. So first of all, contribution by the state through you can say your revenues. Just like I have already said that the central government run schools, they are getting revenue from the central government, and the state government run schools or the educational institutions, they receive financial aid from the state government. So this is one of the source that from the government they get the revenue, get the finance. Then second, we can say that contribution by the receiver of education through fees, that's called as the tuition fees. Just like in the private institutions, what I was talking earlier, the private school managements, they they earn the revenue, they create the revenue, they collect the revenue from the students in terms of student fees. Okay, so they get monthly student fees, maybe 4,000, 5,000, it depends upon the nature of the schools. Okay, so from the student fees, the private school generates revenue, generates their finance, and with their finance they make the annual budget, that how many teachers they have appointed, what is the salary of the teachers, what is the salary of the other staffs of the schools, what is the other expenditure of the schools in infrastructure head, in other teaching learning head, other in pedagogic head, and for salary and other types of development in the school. So they prepare a budget, but mostly the revenue that they get, especially the private schools, they receive revenue from the student fees. Okay, then further we can say that contribution by the voluntary organizations or voluntary donations. So many a time you will find that the business houses and the voluntary organizations, they also donate certain revenue to the schools, maybe a government school or maybe a private school. Many a time you must have heard that the community is providing certain support to the school, okay, providing certain financial support to the schools also. Community is coming forward, the society is coming forward for the development of physical infrastructure. Okay, so that construct the building, they increase the classes, they construct more number of classes in the school. So that's why many a time from different social organizations, from the community, the schools also get certain aid or get certain financial assistance, certain donation. Okay, so this is also one type of financial resources, means the school receives resources from different voluntary organizations. Then further we can say that a contribution by the industry and trade. So in our country or over the world, you will find such type of practices that especially the business houses, especially the big or the large industrialists, they also contribute certain financial aid to different schools, to different educational institutions. Okay, so that's why friends, when we talk about the financial resources of the school, you can say that the financial resources they are getting from government, then from you can say from student fees. Okay, that's the tuition fees from different voluntary organizations in terms of donations. Then further from the large industries or from the industrialists or from the traders. So these are the, you can say, the prime source. From there the educational institute, they get the financial resources. So this is one category of resource, that's the financial resource. Then further we can discuss about the human resources. You see, no school or no educational institute can run without the human resources, because when we conceptualize any educational institute, this is the primary requirement, that there should be you can say qualified teachers in the school to teach the students, professionally trained teachers, professionally educated teachers. So that's why under human resources we can say the prime requirement is the teachers. The school should adequate number of teachers to teach different subject, for you can say those can teach different or participate or take leadership in scholastic areas, at the same time the co-scholastic areas. They will help for the all-round development of the students. Then further we can say that supporting staff, that may be a lab assistant, that may be technical stuff. Okay, so friends, just you try to understand, if it is a school at 11th and 12th standard, you must have observed that there is certain lab. If it is a social science class, without a lab, this can be happen. But when we talk about the science related subject, so without lab, the subject cannot be fulfilled. Okay, so that's why when we talk about the lab, then who will operate the lab, who will take care of the lab, who will supervise the lab? So here, the lab assistant or the technical staff is also required. They also come under the human resources. Further, we can say the administrator. That's called as the educational administrators. You see, for running any educational institute, for running any schools, any colleges, you'll find that the administrators are appointed in the school. Okay, so they take care the entire finance, entire development of the schools, the salary of the teachers, and they manage the school in a proper way, so that the work of the teacher that become very smooth. So that's why the administrator or the educational administrator in the educational institute, in the schools, are also you can say come under the human resources of the of education. Then further, we can say the supporting staff for administration. Okay, so supporting staff means those can assist to the teachers in their work, those can assist to the administrator for performing their work, and at the same time the supporting staffs, they also help to the students. So friends, what we have discussed now, it may be the teachers, it may be the supporting staffs in terms of lab assistant, in terms of technical staff, it may be the educational administrators or the supporting staff for administration. These are come under the human resources. So that's why this is also a kind of resource, a kind of a category of resources that is used in the education system. Then further, we can also talk about the infrastructure and learning resources. So here, when we talk about the infrastructure, mostly our concentration, or mostly we focus upon the physical infrastructure. Okay, so it means the building, classrooms, the furniture, the lab. Okay, means what is required for the teaching learning process, where the students will sit. Okay, without a classroom there cannot be any teaching learning process. So different types of labs, if it is a science based class. Even if in social science and other subjects, you will find that different club activities are also there. For performing in different club activities, definitely there should be certain space in the school. So that may be in terms of a lab, that may be in terms of a room. Okay, it may be a social science lab, it may be a geography lab, it may be a science club, it may be a language club, it may be a language library. Then further, language lab, further we can say that the computer, the ICT lab, information communication technology lab, we can say that the IT lab. Okay, so nowadays you will find that almost all the schools IT lab is compulsory, because with in the teaching learning process now, the technological concept, the technological knowledge that has been integrated, the knowledge relating to information and communication technology is integrated. Okay, so that's why every school, every educational institute, you will find that certain ICT lab is there. Then further, for development of sports and health services in the school, sports and health of the students, of the teachers, of the you can say the human resources, those are employed in the school. They also come under the infrastructure. It may be you will find that certain your sports house should be there, sports infrastructure should be there for conducting the sports. The required infrastructure should be available, maybe for the cricket match, maybe for the football, maybe for the volleyball, basketball. Okay, so friends, now we are talking about the infrastructure and the learning resources. Even if for teaching learning process, for better implementation of the pedagogy, to teach a subject by using different methods, to demonstrate a topic by using certain apparatus, okay, or to do certain experiment in science. So we require certain teaching learning resources. So if the teaching learning resources is not available, it may be in terms of acid, it may be in terms of you can say different instruments that we require for doing the experimentation, doing the experiment at the same time to demonstrate the things that also we require. So these infrastructure, this is also a type of you can say resource. It comes under a category, a kind of resource. Then further, when we talk about the other resources, you will find that the other organizations or the you can say involvement of community or society is also required in the teaching learning process in the education system. So here many a time you must have experienced being a member of the society, being a part of the teaching learning process, being a part of the education system. You must have observed that without the support of the community, without the help of the community and society, no school can flourish. Okay, at the same time, without the involvement of the school, without the involvement of the educational institute, no community will flourish. So here you see, this is, you can say, mutual relationship between the school and community. Okay, see, the development of school, it depends upon the community. At the same time, the development of community and society is also depends upon the school. So friends, here you see many a time we consider our community, our society is also a type of resource, because we get many resources from the community. We receive many good scholars from the community, and we can engage those scholars in the teaching learning process. We can invite them for teaching a particular topic. Okay, so many a time you will also find we organize certain guest lecture, and voluntarily also you will find that many people from the community you can say by suo moto or by self motivated, they also come to the school for participating in the teaching learning process. Okay, they help for proper grooming of the students. At the same time, you must have observed that apart from the learned person, apart from the educated person, many a time the other crafts, the persons related, or those are doing different craft related work, different skill related work, they also come to the school, and they also engage students for developing certain skills, certain craft. They're teaching the students for preparing certain crafts, certain music, dance, art, and craft. So friends, when we talk about the community and the society, we also consider that our community, our society is also one of the active resource for developing education. So friends, when we talk about education supports required, it means here that the supports that we provide to the students, they are the main beneficiary of the teaching learning process. So we require certain resources, and that resources may be financial resources, human resources, infrastructure and learning resources. At the same time, other resources just like the resources that we receive from the community. Okay, so friends, at the absence of one category, one type of resources, then you cannot manage any educational institute in a proper way. So that's why all these 4 types of resources is required for proper development of the school, and for operating the school in a proper way, and functioning the school in a proper way. So friends, in this program, in the past program, we have discussed about the categorization of resources for education as the support system for the students, and further we will discuss about the resource mobilization, at the same time the proper utilization of the resources. Thank you.